Greetings, students of the Force and curious acolytes of the galaxy, and welcome back to our archives. The criminal underworld of Star Wars is one that is highly influential to the overall running of the galaxy itself. It is this underworld that has preserved throughout all of the eras without being stopped. While empires rose and fell, the underworld remained a constant. It is easy to say that without this criminal underworld, the galaxy just simply wouldn't run the same. But running the underworld wasn't easy, and illegal trade was integral in keeping it alive. The black market of the Star Wars mythos was the lifeblood of the criminal world, no matter who you were. You had access to some of the finest things the galaxy had to offer, from ship parts to information, artifacts, drugs, and especially highly illegal weaponry. However, there is one weapon that is not easily acquired just by anyone on the black market, and that of course is the Jedi and Sith weapon, the noble lightsaber. Asajj Ventress once stated that it was easy to find a lightsaber on the black market if you knew where to look, but she had connections through her work with Dooku. Today though, acolytes, we are going to open up a holocron and dive deep into the criminal underbelly of the galaxy, and discover why most criminals are terrified of dealing in lightsabers. And it may be for a reason you do not suspect. Lightsabers, along with other Jedi artifacts, were what is called a Class X item. Class X items were highly illegal, and if one were to be found with them, it would be instantaneous and egregious jail time. Both during the days of the Republic and especially in the days of the Empire, Jedi artifacts could land you with not only hefty fines, but also prison sentences of nearly 30 years, just by being affiliated with someone that dealt with lightsabers and Jedi artifacts. This is just the average. Even someone from the powerful Hutt clan was imprisoned for that amount of time for being found owning a stash of Jedi artifacts. Of course, we know that for a Hutt, 30 years is more of an inconvenience than anything else, but the point remains. For many beings in the Star Wars galaxy, 30 years is well over a third of their entire lifespan. Duros, for example, only have an average lifespan of about 80 or so years, so a 30-year prison sentence could spell a death sentence for them. But of course, most black market dealers are aware of the risks they run with their businesses, and usually have no problem in avoiding the feds. So let's pull back a few more layers in finding out why criminals are so afraid of the lightsaber blade, beyond just simply jail time. The problem with dealing in Jedi artifacts such as lightsabers and even holocrons like the one we're exploring today is that not only are they big ticket items, but there admittedly isn't a big demand for them at all. Your average bounty hunter isn't going to gun straight for a Jedi weapon when selecting something for themselves. Most criminals desire a trusty blaster instead. This is because criminals are aware of how difficult lightsabers are to wield by the untrained and those that cannot touch the Force. They aren't just like any other sword, as they've actually been described as deceptively heavy. The average public person may not know much about the ways of the Force, but they do seem to know that it requires a knowledge of the Force to actually wield a lightsaber properly. Not to mention that lightsabers are just as much of a danger to the wielder as they are to any opponent. Many times, criminals know that they're 98% of the time going to be in firefights, so they'll want to spend their hard-earned credits on a blaster. What's more is that lightsabers are incredibly expensive, way more expensive than you would think. Like kyber crystals on the black market, they're nearly priceless items, and during the age of the Empire, only the very richest senators and wealthiest and highest ranking Imperials ever owned a lightsaber. What we're getting at is lightsabers aren't exactly what you would call a lucrative business in the underworld. This kind of scum that buy Jedi artifacts are the rich and the proud. Owning a lightsaber in the underworld and not being a Jedi is much more of a vain status symbol than anything else. A party trick to ignite the wave around at a drunken gala to garner respect and envy from their onlookers. Other than this, you might find a crime lord owning one, but again, it's more of a status symbol than anything business oriented at all. Very rarely does anyone in the underworld buy a lightsaber with the intention of actually using it, as this is almost always a death sentence. Black market weapon dealers won't deal in lightsabers because it's a very high risk, low return market. The chances of them actually getting a sell on it would be slim at best, and if they're caught with it, it's not just the Republic courts that they're going to be dealing with, but the Jedi. The final important thing to know about this is that when a non-Jedi is caught owning an illegal Jedi artifact, they are brought before the judgment of the Jedi Council itself. itself. While it's true the Jedi are peacekeepers and will do their best to ensure that they use their power to turn over typical criminals to the proper authorities. However, when the issue concerns Jedi matters, the criminals are to be put before the Jedi courts, and many criminals are very well aware of just how brutal these courts can be. The Jedi actually have a reputation for not adhering to any form of emotion, so criminals know that there will be no sympathy for them whatsoever when brought before a Jedi judge and jury. They'll receive the highest prison sentence possible if the Jedi Council has their way about it, and these prison sentences don't come with the option of bail, parole, and are never reconsidered. Most Star Wars police units can be paid off to turn a blind eye to most black market dealings, but even when the corrupt officers find out that someone is carrying a Jedi artifact, they're obligated to turn in the criminal to the Jedi without question, mostly out of fear for their own necks, which is really a different view on the Jedi from the commoner in the Star Wars galaxy, as even though they were designed to be peacekeepers, the common person in the universe were actually massively afraid of them, and the power that they wielded both seen and unseen. The Republic hands the rights of the accused fully over to the Jedi courts, and these courts do with the criminals whatever they see fit on Jedi-concerned matters. This is why you won't see any low-end black market dealers ever having lightsabers even after the complete annihilation of the Jedi Order. In the Clone Wars episode Lightsaber Lost, when Ahsoka was working with Tera Sinube on getting her lightsaber back, there's a very interesting detail, as you'll notice wherever they go inquiring about lightsabers, it's met with fear and suspicion. They are easily able to find the criminal that stole Ahsoka's lightsaber because people in the underworld take notice when someone acquires a shiny item such as that. Shiny not meaning in the literal sense of course, but in the sense that they'll have a target on their backs until they do something with that item or are caught. Again, in the times of the Empire, owning a lightsaber was considered to be even worse, and was even punishable by death. The explanation for this is quite obvious, as Darth Sidious deemed all Jedi activity a direct violation and threat to the fortitude of the Galactic Empire. To have a lightsaber or a Jedi artifact was treason, and instead of being prisoned, this would mean certain death. Still though, because of their rarity, lightsabers were extremely expensive, and as we mentioned earlier, several high-ranking Imperial authorities did claim to have lightsabers openly displayed within their offices, as a show of power and the turning the page on a new era. But anyway, my friends and acolytes, let us know your thoughts on this less talked about topic, and what are your thoughts on the extreme dangers of dealing in lightsabers and Jedi artifacts? Let us know if you would like us to highlight videos on other less talked about topics in the Star Wars universe in our archives. And until then, my friends and acolytes, may the Force be with you, and I hope to see you soon.